Well, hello. We are back to the weekly.
Barely back.
Barely back. I think we should start off with the most important news of the week. What do you think?
Why not? Did I beat you in golf?
Yeah.
Twice?
Yeah. It's unfortunate. It's quite a shock. I'm actually still trying to get over it, and I will.
I hope you're suffering.
On Friday.
I really, truly hope you're suffering.
I will. Friday we have a charity tournament that Miles Franklin's actually going to be hosting, and I get to redeem myself, and I think that will once again put you.
We don't know. It could be a new trend. They say a trend in motion is, something you should embrace.
Yeah, I'm not embracing it.
It's really wonderful.
But my hand was really hurting today.
You're so full of shit. It's not even
funny. It was. But listen, a broken clock is right twice a day.
And so I was right twice.
You are broken, and you are a broken clock. So I give you all the kudos for today. Right. You played great.
Yeah.
And it was a very nice event. It was very nice. It was very nice. Just the outcome was not very good. In any case, not something I'm sure that everyone wants to hear about. I know that you want to continue to talk about it. It was just not a good day. I mean, the sun was shining, which is why we have some color on our faces. But other than that, it really wasn't really wonderful.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's enough then.
Yeah, but it was nice spending the day.
What else is new?
Well, we have a bit of news that it seems that Ukraine launched missiles into Russia today. 6 missiles, 5 were shot down. One was...
These are missiles that are made by the United States that are long range.
Correct. These are the long range ballistic missiles. 5 were shot down. 1 was not, but it was damaged. So it hit a military base in Russia, but it started a little bit of a fire, and evidently it was
Imagine if this were the other way around, and we were in a war with Mexico, and Russia was providing 200+ billion in aid, in weapons, the intelligence on where to fire the missiles, and then providing sophisticated long-range missiles that would go deep into the middle part of the country that Mexico didn't possess. Now, I'm not saying that you can't compare the two, but the point of it is, isn't that a declaration of war?
Yeah.
And on top of stealing 5 billion of their treasuries and using the proceeds to buy weapons to give to the Ukraine, it's just absolute lunacy. It makes zero sense. These people are just completely and totally they're irrational and they're reckless, and God forbid it leads to something more more of an escalation that brings the US in.
I think the more stunning part of it is that it just so happens that we now have President-elect Trump as the winner, and now all of a sudden Biden gave the okay to Ukraine to go ahead and do so. So that's what it was, that Biden gave the green light, still in his administration, doing nothing. I mean,
I wonder what the hell the Ukraine has on the Biden family. I mean, you just can't make it up.
But where's Biden been for the last 3 months? Where's he been?
And I would argue it's not Biden pulling the strings. It's a military-industrial complex. But the whole thing is just absolutely reckless and irresponsible and foolish. And I hope Trump has a direct hotline to Putin saying, when I get in, this shit's going to stop. It's just absolutely crazy.
I actually hope that there's a direct line in now, not only with Putin, but also with the Biden administration, to tell them, listen, you're not going to leave this country in a position like this right now, where what I believe is that Trump has the ability to thwart what potentially could be World War III.
It's just unbelievable. We don't even think about it because we've never had missiles fired into our country. God, thank God. But it's truly shocking to think that we've come this close to something as frightening as World War III with nuclear weapons. Well,
agreed.
Let's hope that smooths out and blows over. But it's frightening.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about gold and silver.
Yeah. Because what's the latest this week that we have? Because I know that we were talking a little bit about today, and I told you to save it so that we'd have this to go on for tonight. So what's going on with the short positions and
gold? I think what we witnessed was traders sensed the fact that the people that the market was foolish enough to believe that, this euphoria, which you could call it irrational exuberance, but as we talked about before, I've talked a lot about it. I'm euphoric in the respect of getting our country back. I'm excited for that. Hopefully, the prospect of it. But yet, in terms of where this country is financially, people and the traders were foolish enough to believe that Bitcoin and the stock market will be the road to salvation under this administration, and sold off gold. I think the big traders, the commercial banks, understood how naive this is and actually used that to push the price down the hill. And you can see that they did a good deal of covering. They covered almost 16,000, just over 15,500 contracts in gold at 100 ounces per contract. Do the math; it's a lot. And in silver, they covered over 5,700 contracts at 5,000 ounces apiece. So in other words, they use this opportunity. They've been getting hammered. They use this opportunity to cover these positions, and nothing has changed short of slashing things like Medicare, Social Security, veteran benefits, really doing the things that'll piss off the whole country. It's meaningless. Our debt will continue to grow, and the interest alone by 2031, even if Elon and Vivek slashed everything, will by 2031, 100% of it will go to pay just the interest on the debt and mandatory entitlements like Social Security and government and military pensions, those kinds of things out the window. All of the other entitlements out the window. And when you talk about military, it is discretional. You'd have to borrow to fund the military. It's crazy. Nothing has changed. In fact, inflation is only going to get worse. And I think, what we've seen that really encourages me is that during this bull market that we've been in for a while now, when I reflect on what I've seen over the past 34 years, markets never come back this fast. Never, ever have they come back this fast. And it's a continual event that we see, that the sharp sell-offs that are met with massive international buying that pushes the price right up. In this case, it was very, very easy to see. It was obvious. The commercial banks were getting killed, and they used this euphoria to push the price down $200 and in gold and a couple bucks in silver to cover these positions. And now we see, at least half of it right away just snap right back up.
Well, you brought up a good point, because the markets, they generally never come back like this. But I mean, this year alone, we're now in the fourth quarter of 24, and there are some I'm talking big companies out there that are up 400%.
Yeah,
year to date. That's, and we're talking big companies. That is not something, our markets were not designed in the long run to see these type of returns in such a short time frame.
No, and if you lower interest rates from sky high valuations, it's only going to create greater price distortions in these stocks and in crypto and all of these assets that are benefiting from this Trump train. And it's legit. It is, but when you talk about, is it sustainable? No, it's not. To me, the biggest issue is the banks. I think it is a ticking time bomb. The BTFP program has expired.
Which they don't talk about at all.
And that was the project, or the program rather, that came into play in May of last year, when Silicon and Signature failed to provide emergency liquidity.
Funding, right.
That's done. Reverse repo market is almost done. There's such little amounts of liquidity. And if you look at the premiums on the credit default swaps, in other words, the insurance against these trades where one counterparty doesn't trust the other so much, so they buy insurance on it, the premiums are going parabolic. That signals trouble. That signals that there's a lack of liquidity, a lack of trust. And so the system, even though for a few days it looked like, everything's going to be great for the mainstream, I think it was nothing more than an opportunity for these banks to clear a good portion of their stale short positions. And here we are again. When they cover, that means they purchase. And so you see the price go back up. But it's also important to note that since the first rate cut, we've seen the dollar index go up 6%.
Yep.
And, here we go.
What now, 107, around there?
Right. And so the dollar is very strong, unjustifiably. And yet gold and silver are holding their own, coming back up in the face of that. This isn't the end of the bull run. It was a correction that actually probably you could argue needed to happen. But if you look at how oversold the market is on the technicals, it's massively oversold. And typically when we get to this point in the oversold territory, we will see it bounce back up.
Yeah, and listen, not financial advice, but I would definitely urge everyone out there, if you are still in equities, do your research, do your diligence, find out, look at what you're holding on to, and see, what's the price earnings multiple on some of these things. There are some stocks out there that are just trading at outlandish PEs. And I, for one, would be very hesitant to be holding something that is trading at a 150 times earning multiple. I mean, some of these things are priced to absolute perfection 2-3 years down the road.
Yeah.
And I think that right now it's dangerous. So just, again, not financial advice, but do your own due diligence, be cautious, because it's one thing to make money. And it's like what we always talk about in the casino. It's great to lose. It's great to win. We love going and having some fun and winning a couple of bucks, but it's not fun to lose.
No.
And remember that whatever you do lose, if you lose 30%, you have to see 60% in returns to just get back to even. So just do your due diligence and, take a look, maybe speak to your financial advisor, see what you have. There's no loss in profits. So now might be a good time to take some in that regard. And that's it, by the way.
Well, and when you talk about that, when businesses fail, the shareholders get wiped out. But when a government starts to fail, because typically empires run into big trouble when they can't meet their interest payments.
Yep.
And that's where we're at right now. So I'm not saying the US dollar is going to collapse or the US government is going to fail, but when they do, people who hold dollars get clobbered. And this is why,
just like the common stockholders.
Yes.
That's it. But that's what we are.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just good to start to mitigate your exposure and hold things in realizing that the removal of counterparty risk is huge, and being able to hold things in your own possession is a really big deal, man. And I don't think people quite understand that's added to me. When you talk about holding stuff in your own possession, that should be factored into the value. It's kind of like having a job where you're able to work your own hours and come and go and be your own boss, even though you're working at a job. That to me is an intangible you can't put a price tag on. Same thing with holding things in your own possession, with the systemic nature of everything right now. The banks, all of the securities held at the DTCC, whatever the hell it's called, that was part of the Great Taking. And the counterparty liability, counterparty risk should be factored into the value. It's not always about making a profit. It's about protecting what you've worked your ass off to make all these years and get out of the way of what is coming, at least in this inflationary wave.
Before I forget, Adam D, I told you I would give you a shout out. So this one's for you. Appreciate everything. Thanks again for responding yesterday. What else you got? What else this week? Let's get, actually, you know what? I had a question that a client asked me today. So they are looking to potentially buy a home. And they wanted to know they don't want to put their monies in stocks. They don't want to put their monies in bonds. They don't want to keep money in the bank. So
what do they need the money for?
Well, they want to buy a house in about a year, but they want to put it in metal. And they wanted to know, do we buy silver? Do we buy gold?
I know.
I
feel it makes me, kind of uneasy to recommend anyone do that, as much as, you look at the Bank of Lindsay, Oklahoma, and it failed. We've talked about that. If you had $1 million in that bank, you're only getting 6.25, 250 plus half of the uninsured deposits. The rest is gone. Now you're screwed. So you don't want it there. But you put your money in gold and it doesn't go straight up. It corrected by $200.
Yeah.
You're losing sleep. As much as I hate to say it, I would do 90-day treasuries directly at treasurydirect.gov and remove all of that market risk. Now, if you don't want to do that, then yeah, sure. Buy 1 ounce gold bars or buy 100-ounce silver bars.
So with that, would you recommend more so, if it were me or you and you were looking to do this, would you rather own 100-ounce silver bars or 1 ounce gold bars?
Probably silver, 100-ounce silver bars. But again, you're speculating. And do you want to speculate with that money? You need to understand that it's a real speculation. And I think gold companies that say absolutely do it are doing the customer a disservice. You should let people know what the best options are. And when you need money for a home, for a wedding, for a college, for taxes, to speculate with it will only erode your life. It'll erode your peace of mind and your sleep at night. And yes, when it, like I tell my son who just started in this business, I say, look, you have to learn balance, just like Mr. Miyagi said in The Karate Kid. It's true. You need to learn balance, and balance is when things are great and you're doing well in life. I would argue you're not as great as you think it is. And when things are going bad and you're down and bummed out, it's not as bad as you think it is. You must learn balance. And the same thing is true with an asset like this. Yes, you could buy it and the price would go up and you would feel great. And then if it came down, you would be nauseous and sick. And you have to ask yourself, is that roller coaster worth it? Now, looking at the performance over the last several years, yes, it would probably work out. Is it something you want to do? Not sure. Don't forget, you have taxes that you'd have to pay as well. And
True.
I guess if this person were my best friend, I would say, as much as I want to help you and sell you metals, if you need it in a year, I'm kind of queasy about doing it. I'd say buy short-term treasuries, which really most people don't want to do either, but at least they're really liquid and you get out of them quickly, and you disintermediate the banks by going right to treasurydirect.gov.
And there's the first question.
Twice.
Yeah, I somehow I knew he would smile on that one.
Twice.
I gave him that. It was a layup.
God bless.
I know.
Twice.
It's a layup.
Well, he's a better golfer than me, but maybe I've turned the page. It's possible, He's a 5 handicap, and once is a fluke. Twice, but maybe a trend.
Yeah.
You got nothing to
the
say.
trend
Shut
is
up.
not
You
your
got
friend.
nothing to say
I know.
about it.
Listen, it was a fair and square, and that's it.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I get it.
Do you?
Yeah.
Get it?
I get it.
Okay,
I
great.
get it. I get it.
I hope everyone gets it.
And I'm sure. Yeah, no,
Don't
I'm
even say
positive
it.
that I will not hear the end of this for quite some time.
That's right.
But you deserve it. You
Thank
deserve
you.
the win.
No, I don't think the dollar will be pegged to a cryptocurrency because cryptocurrencies are far too volatile. A currency has to be stable. If you are accumulating currency for a business or for whatever it is, you need to understand that the value will be consistent. Yes, inflation sucks. I never understood why the Fed strives for 2% inflation. How about negative 2%? But 2%, yes, and that's a scam. We know it's much higher than that, but forget about inflation. But you can't have a currency where, people always say you buy a pizza with it, and by the time you're done eating, you can buy a Porsche with it. So no, you have to have stability behind the currency. So pegging it to a cryptocurrency, I don't think is the way to do it.
Yeah, we've also seen some of the stable coins not so stable.
Right.
Yeah, we've seen the stable coins go down to 80 some odd cents, a little bit less even in some some situations.
Well, if you look at what Trump is talking about with the Bitcoin strategic reserve, it would be to build it up and pay off the debt with it. It's a noble idea. The debt must be dealt with at some point. So yeah, I think that it could be part of the system, but it won't be pegged to a currency. It's too volatile, and I think
I agree with that, and certainly not even close to now.
Well, and besides, you can't have a decentralized currency pegging to a central bank currency.
Correct.
You know what I mean? A decentralized asset pegging. Right. It has to be centralized in order for it to be pegged to anything.
Correct. This is a good one, Michael. Good question. Capital gains on metals just feels dirty. Agreed. The increase in value is correlated to inflation. For the most part, there is actually no gain when adjusted for inflation. Not only the capital gains on metals, but the fact that the capital gains on metals is not the same as your regular long-term capital gains.
28%, which sucks.
It's up to 28%, and there still should be absolutely no sales tax at all on metals. But
you're seeing states remove that, and Senator Mooney from West Virginia maybe has floated a bill. I mean, certainly American-made coins from the U.S. Mint, which are legal tender, they're not currency. In some states, they're becoming that, but they're legal tender, and a legal tender item should not trigger capital gains.
Correct.
And maybe we'll move in that direction. But yeah, it does feel dirty. But look at all the taxes that are dirty. And cash-strapped, cash-starved governments. I suppose desperate governments do desperate things. But I don't think you can look at taxes as the reason to not own it. I think it sucks and it's part of the deal, but I think the benefits outweigh the tax consequences.
Sure. What do we got here? We got, well,
thank you, Sherry. I appreciate that very much.
what's that on?
And you said
Gregor.
buy gold, and Big says buy silver. Why? Thank you. I mean, I say buy silver too. You know, I think silver is the most undervalued asset on the planet. It offers potential that you don't typically see. We call, you know, to me, it's not always about making a profit. And while I think that silver is generationally special in terms of its value, I think the central banks reclassified gold as the world's only other tier 1 reserve asset. And when the BIS did that, it didn't do it just for the hell of it. After 70 plus years of it being US dollars and treasuries, why gold? And why are all the central banks buying it the way they are? And why are they all taking possession of it? We call this asymmetrical risk reward when we look at silver. It has low downside and very high upside. The dollar has increased 14-fold the amount of dollars in circulation since 1980, and it is selling at a 40% discount to its value. I want to show something too about silver.
I was just going to say, now's a perfect time to put on the Musk piece.
So I was watching TikTok actually, and I saw this.
What were you doing? I don't want to know.
Well, I get Elon and Joe Rogan on TikTok, but check this out from Elon as it pertains to silver's massive potential. Can we see that? I hope we can see that. Let's make this
John,
big.
can you see that?
All right, here we go. Check this out.
You could actually power the entire United States with 100 miles by 100 miles of solar.
You don't see it?
Yes.
So you could just pick some dead spot that you fly over,
Which there are plenty.
cover that sucker up with
They're
solar
not-
panels, and charge the whole country
They are.
Absolutely.
24/7.
We need
All right,
batteries.
hang on a second. Let's try this. Let's do this. I don't know why they can't see
You
it.
can see the video,
But-
you can't see it playing.
That's really weird. Let me try it this way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right?
So
Okay, let's reset this. Here we
you
go.
could actually power the entire United States with 100 miles by 100 miles of solar.
Really?
Yeah.
So you could just pick some dead
Joe looks
spot that you
weird.
fly
Yeah, a
over,
little
Which there are plenty.
cover that sucker up with
Correct.
solar panels, and charge the whole country
Absolutely.
24/7.
We need batteries, but yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not hard. It's very feasible. The sun is converting over 4 million tons of mass to energy every second, and it's no maintenance. That thing just works. We have a giant fusion reactor in the sky. That is the sun.
I mean, the dude is, when he talks, it's very impressive when you hear things like this.
It's brilliant.
The potential for silver is limitless. And as I've said before, you have 8 banks that maintain the largest short position of any commodity traded on COMEX, over 700 million ounces, although they just did cover some. It was about 750, so it's 7 whatever. That's a whole year's worth of mine supply, and that doesn't take into account the 4 to 6 billion ounces short on the LBMA. They've been getting killed as silver went up. So this is why we should have expected the price to come down. But when you look at the decisions the military-industrial complex makes, allowing U.S.-made long-range missiles to be fired into Russia, which is about as stupid as a mud wall, you can understand why and who's pulling the strings and why they want the price of silver to be kept down, because it is massively needed in all of the military, high-tech military missiles and aerospace and things like that. Go to silverwars.org. Check out John Forrest Little's research. It's pretty spot on, and you'll learn more about the hidden the omission in the Silver Institute's numbers. Where the hell is military in all of this? And this is why you have the Western banks holding the price down. But when you see China doing what they're doing, massively accumulating doré and concentrate, and they're the second largest producer of silver in the world. And when I did an interview with David Morgan recently, he said, no, they'll tell you they're the first. I went there and they told me that. So you have a massive producer of silver that's flying around the world buying stuff that needs to be refined, and they send it back and refine it, paying more than anyone else will, on top of everything else they're doing in terms of standing for delivery in the sovereign wealth fund universe. And I was talking to a guy who worked on the CME, I'm going to be interviewing him soon, Ira Harris. And Ira said, Andy, you have no idea how big the sovereign wealth funds have become, and they're opaque, and we don't know who's behind them, but they're the ones standing for delivery on behalf of the PBOC or on behalf of the Bank of India, who's imported almost 900 million ounces in the past 2.5, 3 years. So And now you have Russia, who's buying it as part of their state fund. These countries understand the position the Western banks are in. And I think, silver is a massive value. But I keep coming back to the fact that the most powerful bank on the planet reclassified gold as the world's only other tier 1 asset. And the central banks are buying it hand over fist. And when we want to talk about what could actually make me nervous about Bitcoin, when you think in terms of...
And you talking about the Bank of International Settlement.
Yeah, the BIS. And when you talk about, looking at things from a contrarian perspective, why do all the governments buy gold and very few own any Bitcoin at all? And why do we hear so much in the way of Bitcoin, but we don't hear anything in the way of gold? Yet the people who are the most well-funded and well-informed traders in the world continue to buy
hand over fist
gold. Now, I'm not a Bitcoin basher. I'm not. In fact, I have a little bit of it, a very little bit. But the point of it is that when you think about all of the rhetoric surrounding Bitcoin and none surrounding gold, and yet we see the central bankers going out of their way to buy it and repatriate it and possess it. And the same thing is true with silver. I start to wonder, what does that mean? Are they penning everyone in?
I want to just answer Susan's, not so much as a question, but I wouldn't say don't speak to financial advisors. I think that there's a lot of great financial advisors out there, and they can offer you wonderful tools to really build a beautiful portfolio for the long term. They are too invested in fiat, and their livelihoods do depend on it. I mean, one thing that we do know is if you do ask 95% of financial advisors out there, how much do you put in your clients into metals? I would tell you at least the honest answer is going to be, less than 5%. But Andy's right. It turns out to be roughly none. Why? Most of these investment banks don't offer the metals. The brokers or the financial advisors don't know enough about them. And whenever a client would purchase those metals, chances are they take the assets from the investment bank to send it to a dealer like Miles Franklin or one like Miles Franklin. And they now lose any of the income that they were charging as a management fee for those fees, for those assets. So, it's not, you're not getting a biased answer.
And do you remember when you were like really young? What did they used to be called? They were
Brokers.
called stockbrokers.
Yeah, that's it.
They made a percentage of every trade. And then Scottrade came, and I remember that. We started the company before the internet, and Scottrade comes along and says, we'll do these trades for $9 instead of 1%. And all of a sudden that model was dead. Yeah. And so they became advisors. And I once was an advisor, and passing the Series 7 test is hard. Passing the advisory test is ridiculously easy. Now, it's not a CFA where you have to take 3 tests over 2 years or whatever. The financial advisory test is like 100 questions on how or how not to screw somebody.
Yeah, it's more ethical than anything else, right?
Yeah, and so now you are qualified, basically. You could be someone who never graduated high school, had a GED, passed the 7, and passed that test with 0 qualifications. You are told what to do from up above, and now you're a financial advisor. Yeah. It's not the same pedigree that other pedigrees are, like an accountant or a doctor or a lawyer. You go to school, you go to further schooling, and you learn, but you're not invested in your own mantra the way that financial advisors are, because it's an umbrella and you're underneath the umbrella. When you pull out from under that umbrella, now you're taking money off of their plate. And so they are, human nature would say, they're going to find every reason to tell you you're a fool to do what you're doing. And then, okay, fine, buy GLD and SLV, right, which is the worst thing you can do.
And but they still get their management fee. And how many times have we said, even from a metals dealer perspective, we would love nothing more than for there to be federal regulation in our industry. We'd love nothing more. In my opinion, it would put many of those bad actors,
most of them,
out of business,
almost all of them,
and save the American public from a lot of these scams that we continue to see day in and day out.
I mean, they're really so crazy, these scams. And I keep saying I wish I couldn't mention the names of the companies. I wish that their owners would have the nerve to come and debate me live about what they're doing. And it's typically in the IRA space. It's really, it's criminal as far as I'm concerned. It should be criminal. But yeah, it should be regulated. But if you do it the right way and you own the right stuff, and by the way, to the person who said that, look, I love silver. I do. I think silver is a
He
great
was just
place
showing
to
his
be.
chest
Yeah.
because he beat me in golf.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, listen, Aaron, if you're listening, Aaron's dear old dad put $850,000 with one of these companies.
Yeah.
I wish I could
You
say it
showed it to
sounds
me.
like shmoney, but like with some other words, I won't do it, but I wish I could. In any case, so his father became ill and he needs to take care of his dad and sell some of the metal. And when he called them to get the value,
It's 250, right?
forget the 250. You know what they wanted them to do? They wanted them to sign a DocuSign that would allow them to give him a bid for the metal and agree to arbitration.
And tell him agree to arbitrate. And tell him how long they said they would pay him.
So $850,000 is what he invested. The melt value on these metals.
2 years, 3 years.
Well, the melt value was roughly about 250,000.
But when did he buy them?
He bought them in 2021. But what he bought, 70 modern day proofs, 69 and 70s. But he was buying a 4-coin set. Now, mind you, that's an ounce, half ounce, quarter ounce, and 10th ounce. That's 1.85 ounces. And he paid for some of these proof sets, Reagan proof sets, almost $20,000 for a 1.85.
So the Reagan proof set, it's his son who signed the PCGS holders. It's just
Correct.
a bunch of horseshit.
It's exactly.
And this is the predatory stuff that we see that is absolutely ridiculous. And these companies all have very fancy schmancy presentations.
But what's worse? The worst part is that when he went to go ask him about selling it, they told him that the maximum that he would be able to sell in any given month was $50,000.
That's just unreal.
So my question was when he bought the metal, they had no problem taking in the lots of $300,000 and $400,000 at one time. But in order to sell, they have to piece it out over 16 or 18 months. I told them, not something.
These are real sweetheart people. Man.
Yeah,
it's
sweethearts.
just unbelievable.
Sweethearts live in the lap of luxury, driving around probably in Lamborghinis and living in multi-million-dollar homes. Laughing at the poor old folks that they're basically stealing from.
Yeah.
It's really what it comes down to.
What he's saying is 1,000% true.
Yeah.
But whatever. It's just gross. It actually makes me almost ill. It's the things that we've seen over the last several months.
But once again, if you do have any issues like this, or you've heard of any issues like this, have them write into info@milesfranklinco.com. Let's see what kind of.
Since I started talking about this on several shows, the stuff that we've seen, and there's about 6 or 7 companies that are doing it. It's truly horrific.
You can't make the shit up though.
No, you can't.
You can't. I mean, they say truth is stranger than fiction. We're seeing it. We're seeing all these things that I call you, and I don't think at this point in time I could really surprise you anymore.
No,
Really,
probably not.
Forget the golf.
No,
'Cause
how about the way you eat?
Well, that you're not surprised by it.
Yeah, I was the other day. You were eating sausage and peppers and stuff. Yet,
Yeah, but no peppers.
but
Only
whatever.
sausage.
It was like a bunch of junk on your plate. But yet you
No,
were
it was sausage. It was sausage and onions, and on the other side of the plate, because they can't touch, was the meatballs.
This is a guy who loves corn on the cob, but if a kernel falls off,
Can't
can't
get it.
touch it. His favorite thing in the world is a French dip, but it never had a roast beef sandwich. Never had a cold cut sandwich ever. Won't eat turkey. Whatever. It's just weird. And you bring a pickle near him, he freaks out. It must be like I'm sticking a hot red poker in your face.
Rule number 1: no pickles.
No pickles and no mustard.
No mustard, no sauerkraut. Nope. Basically, no condiment whatsoever except for ketchup, and only on a hot dog and hamburger, which most people find very odd that I have hot dogs with ketchup.
Well,
Most people do
yes.
sauerkraut and mustard. I don't eat either.
My point exactly, as you can see, he's very high maintenance, but so nothing really surprised me. So what were you going to say?
I don't remember. I think the whole food thing just cut me off.
threw you?
Yeah, it just threw me for a loop, and the whole corn on the cob thing. Now I'm thinking about it. Think about that one coin that
Why
fell.
does that
on it.
bother you so
I don't
much?
know. I'm I'm not normal.
You said it.
I know.
I
and
did.
and it's true. All right, you want to answer Mike's protein bar review and fitness question?
I don't think it's, I mean, yeah, it is what it is. There are a lot of countries that have higher taxes, and you look at the UK, they have VAT tax on silver, 13, 14%. Their taxes, yes, it sucks, but maybe it's actually worth it. Maybe saving the 8% on regular capital gains or whatever it is. Look, if you buy GLD and SLV, same 28%, by the way. You're taxed as if you
Own the metal.
Yeah.
Without owning the metal.
Right. And so I guess you have to ask yourself, is that little extra tax? And maybe you never sell it. Maybe you pass it on to your family down the road. I mean, the point of it is, yes, taxes suck, but you know, if
That's
you
a good
pay the
question.
tax,
Let
that
me
means
ask
it means you won.
It's a good question for you. So, and I should know this. I don't know.
Step up in basis
Yeah.
is what you're going to say.
Yeah.
So if God forbid I died and my family inherited my metals, they would get
What about me?
what?
Do I get any of it?
Maybe
John, do I get any of it?
You'll have to make me a sister bride.
you can you can
okay.
have my baseball.
Totally.
So the beneficiaries would get a step up in
They do.
basis.
So it's the same thing as like an equity. You get the step up,
Yeah.
and that's it. So date of death becomes your new cost basis.
Correct.
Got it.
And from
Okay.
that point forward, any
Yep.
gain they would pay the same
Correct.
tax.
So, but I mean, look, right now, unless you need to be selling the metals, this is not a get rich quick type investment.
And is it
Or wealth.
worse if you're in a hedge fund or in a mutual fund? You're paying unrealized gain taxes every year. So in other words, the mutual fund went up 12%. You're paying tax on it, even though your money's still in there. Same thing with the hedge fund. And then what if the market collapses? You paid all those taxes and you never got it. So, you know, taxes suck, but to me, the extra potential, and that means you won, by the way, when you pay that tax. A profit's not a 4-letter word, it's 6. And I just think that should not be.
Did you just come up with that?
No, I've used it before. It's
I
just
like it.
how I
like it.
think these things.
Yeah.
But
I like it.
I don't know. That wouldn't be my determining factor
No,
for
agreed.
sure. No, I mean, yeah, but there's a quadrillion in derivatives. I don't know how you get to that moment where you blow up the derivatives market.
And it's not so much the derivatives market going away. It's putting it's putting a cap on the amount of paper versus physical is where it got and gets out of hand. I mean, right now, what was it last week? I think we stood at 405 on silver, 405 paper ounces to 1 physical ounce of
Which
silver.
it's probably even higher than
Yeah,
that.
but it's crazy.
There are some derivative markets that are good, like the COMEX, if it were used in the spirit in which it was originally designed, right? And where producers or companies like mine can hedge their product. So if I have 5,000 ounces of gold in my warehouse and the price of gold falls by $100, I'm down, you know, $500,000. How long is that going to work for? You know, and so instead, on those 5,000 ounces of gold, we'll sell 5,000 on paper so that the market is neutral, that we can afford to hold a large inventory because our market risk is muted by taking the other side on COMEX. This is what risk mitigation, this is what the COMEX is designed for. If that goes away, then, you know, companies like mine will not hold large inventories because those types of swings can be very detrimental.
But that's what it was really more so designed for,
Right.
Because, you know, we actually do have risk capital. That's what it's used for. It's to balance it out for us, to allow us to then be able to give supply and have a large inventory for our clients, not to kind of just, you know, screw the public and basically how to price manipulate metals for their own well-being. So that's the real big differential.
And Trump wants to deregulate the banks. So if you think it's bad now, potentially could be far worse in the respect that the deregulation, you'll get more and more gambling and craziness by the banks. And some of these very large banks, are they too big to fail? I'm not sure. You know, we talk about little itty bitty Lindsay, Oklahoma, 7 million in uninsured deposits, and they took half. But Oprah's money and the Silicon Valley tech startups had hundreds of millions in uninsured deposits. Well, they got bailed out. So what does that mean for JP or Citi or others? Because I just have this feeling, I've been saying it. And then when I did an interview with Gregory Mannarino, and he said the same thing for different reasons. I've had this feeling ever since Ted Butler, rest his soul, for months on end, talked about the 1 billion ounce short position in silver that Bank of America held in the OTC market, and 35 to 45 million ounces in gold, and Warren selling 12 billion in those shares, and their balance sheet really poor and huge derivative exposure. So what does it mean if a bank like Bank of America failed? Would they let one fail to kind of, if you think about it, with the BTFP done and the reverse repo done and no liquidity in the market, and if you let one big bank fail, I keep coming back. Why doesn't everyone know that half of the money was taken in bail-in Lindsay? Why isn't it all over the news? Why? But when Silicon Valley Bank failed, we added 14,000 clients in 45 days and was illegally bailed out because everyone knew about it and everyone was freaked out. And here, half of the deposits are gone that are uninsured. Right. $3.5 million bucks. This is a small bank. Gone. It's a trial balloon. It's their way of saying, what do you mean? It just happened in Lindsay. We told you. It's on the FDIC website and it's there.
Right. And you know, you'll get your money back if.
Yeah. And if you get it back over 4 years, it's in the form of bank stock of the new bank. But the point is that you let a bank like Bank of America fail and be bailed in, it would crater the entire banking industry just like that.
Instant.
Everyone would run as fast as they could.
There'd be a run on the banks like you've never seen.
And remember, during the Basel III bank regulations, which went into effect October 1st, they have to have 4.5 cents on the dollar. That's a well-capitalized bank. During the pandemic, zero.
Well-capitalized.
Yeah, so, 4.5 cents on the dollar, how does that make you feel? And FDIC, 140 or 50 billion backing 18 trillion in deposits. It's about 7 cents on the dollar. So keeping your money in the banks is not what it used to be. I don't know how we got on this topic, but anyways, when you talk about derivatives, the value of a derivative is the ability really of the counterparty to perform. And who knows how the system is so systemic, and what does it mean? This is why Credit Suisse had to be purchased by UBS. Evidently would have brought down the system. And this is why these two banks had to be bailed out. It would have brought down the system. Well, one of these days, a bank is going to fail so big that it goes beyond the ability of the FDIC to do much of anything. And then what happens to the system? So it's a weird time for sure. Frank. No, Frank does not work for Miles Franklin. I don't know who Frank is.
Maybe they're
Frank 26 or Frank 26. Maybe?
Frank 26 does not know.
Right.
I don't know who Frank is, but there is no Frank here, to my knowledge.
No, just with mustard and sour
They
cream.
want to know how Miles Franklin got the name.
Miles Franklin got the name. My dad's middle name is Miles, and his best friend who lent us $60,000 in 1989 to start the company, his middle name was Franklin. And that's where the name came from. Stuck with it. It'll be 35 years this February, by the way. What will be the new dollar? No, I mean, the new dollar will be whatever the new system is. And I do believe there will be a new dollar. We are heading towards a new system that is digital. If you take the world's gross domestic product and the countries that make it up, 99% of it anyway, they all have a CBDC in development and or operation. We're moving in that direction. The bigger question is, does a new dollar have some form of pegging to it, some form of backing? And a lot of people think it will be gold. James Rickard says $27,000 an ounce gold. By dividing the number of ounces of gold that the Treasury supposedly holds by M1, there are others that have higher numbers, dividing it by the debt, or however you want to do it. But the bigger question is, will it be backed or pegged to something? So, but a new system's coming for sure, because at some point, the world's reluctance to hold a currency that is being inflated away becomes real. And even more than that is the Treasury. People's reluctance to put their savings and excess into treasuries is a very big problem, because that's what's funded our lifestyle. And we need to come up with $10 trillion a year just to fund current debt and debt that's coming due. And that's a big ask. And so as fewer and fewer countries have an appetite for treasuries and start to sell them, rates go higher. And the only way then that you are able to facilitate this stupid, insatiable appetite for debt accumulation that we have is for the Federal Reserve to come in and print money to buy the treasuries. That's monetization of debt. That is the path to Weimar Republic. So the bigger question really is, to me, what is the trigger that sets all of this off? And this is why I talk about the banks. And this is why I've been saying for 3 years, by signing an executive order to go green, by incentivizing the world to move away from the petrodollar because of this, by weaponizing the dollar, by destroying the infrastructure of the country through immigration and judicial system and lawlessness and the electoral system, all of that stuff, besides our advisor who advocates, Jared Bernstein, this idiot, watch him on Twitter trying to explain bond sales.
Play that.
If you can find it for me, I'll play it. But
You know what I want to know?
but the point is that for me, both could trigger a system that ushers in a CBDC. If the whole world dumped dollars, because you don't need to own them to buy dollar and oil anymore, and that synthetic demand dies, all those dollars flood the system. Inflation goes parabolic. Interest rates have to go parabolic to compensate for it. Remember, you can't have 30% inflation and 5% interest rates. Your currency dies. So interest rates spike, and then we have a villain, Xi Jinping, OPEC, Putin. I've said that largely because of how stupid things have become and because Jared Bernstein advocates for it. Well, that's an option, but look at the banks. They're, I think, this close to a major banking problem. And it's almost like, do they do this if there is a deep state? Do they do this and blame it on Trump's policies? Are they going to pull the rug? That's my biggest fear, because whether it's the banks or the world no longer wanting to hold dollars and or U.S. treasuries, the result is largely the same thing. The whole system resets. And that brings in number two at the in terms of economic advisories at the government, Lael Brainerd, who helped develop the CBDC with MIT when she worked at the Boston Fed. She's a modern monetary theorist, and no one wants to take it. But if everything is just blown up, the banks, the insurance companies who are largely in treasuries, your real estate portfolio, the bond market, the stock market, and the dollar itself, have no fear. Layla's here with her CBDC. You take it, and you too will feed your family tonight. If not, good luck to you. So it makes me feel that part of me feels that Trump understands this and wants to usher in a new system. Whether he does and wants to do it orderly, or the whole thing blows up, one way or the other, we have to go through an event to get to the other side. Because if he were to do all of the things that he says and really get us on a path, bring back the manufacturing, which is gone, you have to bring it back, you have to train people, you have to outfit, all of the things, and create a depression, a big one, the greatest depression ever. And the Great Depression meets the printing press. That's like hyper-stagflation, and it would be a really sucky time. But in order to get through it, you have to have that event. And whether it's a cataclysm where it's absolute collapse, or by design, where, it's just, we understand that we have to do these things to get to the other side. There's no way that we don't get to the other side without some event. And I'll leave that up to you, what you all think it is. But when you look at the banks, and when you look at what we've done to destabilize the dollar, to ruin our reputation, to disincentivize people from owning treasuries, you have to ask yourself, is this stuff too stupid to be stupid? Or has the current administration done more to destroy this country in the last 4 years than any external foe ever could have? And the answer to me is yes, 100%.
Well, Chainsaw Lube, by the way, love the name. Chainsaw Lube.
Can you find that on your computer?
Chainsaw Lube?
No, I'll find it.
No,
Jared
we
Bernstein thing.
You can text it to yourself, and that way we can play it. All right, let's get another question up here, Z.
I have one.
I think you had sent it to me. Darren wants to know about the chronic silver shortage. No silver for investors come January. I don't know if there won't be any silver for investors come January. I mean, yes, we're going on now our 4th year of a shortage of silver, of course. I don't think that there won't be any left for investors, but I think that I know I can tell you from an inventory perspective, it is getting much more difficult to source some of the metals that most people want. 4 or 5 months ago, we couldn't give away 100-ounce bars or kilo bars. Now it's extremely difficult for us to get them back in house. So yeah, I mean, without a doubt, I think that there's something to be said about getting what you want now, because we don't know how long it's going to be until there might not be anything left. But I don't know if January is the time frame.
Let me see if I can do this. I'm not very techie.
Did you put it in your notes?
I think I got it here.
I mean, I found it.
There we go. All right.
Biggest
Oh,
fault
that's
with
not
driver
it.
is
That's
hitting
me.
down on
Oh,
the ball.
no, it's not
Fix
me.
this. Start with your feet
Hang on.
together. Take a biggest
Where
fault
the hell
with
is
driver
it?
is
Did
hitting
you
down on the
did you
ball.
just put
Fix this.
everyone
Start with
into
your
a
feet
video
No,
that
I
together.
they're trying to beat me
Biggest
up?
fault
I don't
hitting
understand what the
driver
hell's
is hitting
going on.
Where's
down
your-
on the
where's
ball.
your
Fix this.
thing? Oh my God, what is it?
I-
It's showing right now.
I'm not showing
Biggest
anything.
So
fault
inappropriate.
hitting driver is hitting
I wonder.
down
God.
on the
I
ball.
wonder if this
Fix
is
this.
like
Start with
a.
your
All right,
feet
hang on.
together.
It
I'm
might be
sorry,
an
you
ad.
guys.
It might be an
Technical,
ad.
technical
Just-
difficulties.
it might be an ad.
I think it is an ad.
So then just volume down
Okay.
and then
Biggest
All
fault.
right. All right. So I'm.
I
Hang
think
on
you
one
have
second.
to do it in order to see it.
This is it right here. I'll put it in my notes. Hang on. Sorry, everybody. This is very difficult for me. Don't look at me like that. I can feel you looking at me, Dick. All right, let's see if this does it. What
Biggest
the
fault
hell?
hitting
It's an
driver is
ad,
hitting
and
down
it
on the
will
ball.
play
Fix
after the
this.
ad,
Start
so
with your
hold
feet
on.
together.
It's
Take
by
a big
5
step away
seconds.
from your target with your back foot.
As soon as it
Slide your
says
hand down your
skip,
leg until it
that's
touches
when
the
we'll skip.
side of your
Hold
knee.
on.
Put 2 hands on
It's
the
not like you've
club
been watching
and let it
porn.
rip.
Hold on.
Biggest
I
fault
don't
hitting
touch
driver
it.
is hitting
No, I'm
down.
not touching it.
You're like
All
premature.
right, let me try it. Let's do
Yeah.
this. Hang on, everybody. I'm sure a lot of people have seen this, but
I'm sure a lot of people have it.
I think I got it right here. Oop. Let's see. Where is it?
Just do Jared Bernstein there. Is that
Biggest
it?
fault
Oh
hitting
my
driver.
gosh.
Here,
Interview. That's it right there.
Bonds.
This is it. No, that's
No,
not
bonds.
I'm texting it to you.
Just do Jared Bernstein bond explanation.
it. Interview about bombs.
Here, it's on here. It's on Fox Business.
Oh man, it's unbelievable. Here it is. Okay, okay. So let me put it up here, and then I got to share my screen. Okay, here we go.
I
everybody.
apologize about the technical problems, and by technical problems, I mean Andy. Yeah.
Why would you say that?
Have we ever considered selling gold bullion jewelry?
Check
No,
this
but
out.
Julie, did Julie talk to you about the jewelry that you wanted to do?
So I don't know. This is the lead. I don't know. A lot of you may have seen this, so I'm sorry for those of you who have, but this is the lead economic advisor to our country. He has a master's degree, or he has a degree in music and a master's degree in social work, and he is the lead economic advisor to the United States government. So check this out.
Make sure they can hear it.
All right. Can you see that, Jana?
No.
You can't see it. What if you make it bigger?
You still, I see it.
Well, now I can.
Okay, so watch this. Check this out.
The U.S. government can't go bankrupt because we can print our own money.
It obviously begs the question, why exactly are we borrowing in a currency that we print ourselves? I'm waiting for someone to stand up and say, why do we borrow our own currency in the first place?
Like you said, they print the dollar. So why does the government even borrow?
Well, again, some of this stuff gets, some of the language that some of the language and concepts are just confusing. I mean, the government definitely prints money, and it definitely lends that money, which is why the government definitely prints money, and then it lends that money by
Can't make this
by
up.
selling bonds. Is that what they do? They sell bonds. Yeah, they sell bonds, right?
Yeah.
Since they sell
Yeah,
bonds and
they
people
sell
buy the
bonds.
bonds and lend them the money. Yeah. So a lot of times, at least to my ear with MMT, the language and the concepts can be kind of unnecessarily confusing, but there is no question that the government prints money and then it uses that money to I guess I can't really talk. I don't get it. I don't know what they're talking about. Like, cause it's like, the government clearly prints money. It does it all the time, and it clearly
It's
borrows.
just so
Otherwise, we wouldn't be
disturbing.
having this debt and deficit conversation. So I don't think there's anything confusing there.
No, nothing at all. So
That
that's
could-
the lead
that-
economic. So this is why I said it's too stupid to be stupid. This is a guy who advocates for losing.
That
the
could have
reserve
been the
currency.
opening scene for Saturday Night
So
Live.
the topic about
here we
which
go.
I've been asked to speak.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's the lead economic advisor who is, advising President Biden on economic policy. So, that's why I've said for a while that they're trying to do this, and maybe Trump understands it. Maybe he wants to be at the helm of resetting the system and do it the right way. Maybe he exposes everything that's happened. I don't know, but I will tell you this, that this can't go on forever, because we're getting to the point where interest on the debt is the biggest line item. It's bigger than defense spending. And what are you going to do? You're going to cut defense? Are you going to cut, which is discretionary? Are you going to cut Social Security? Are you going to cut Medicare? Are you going to cut the military benefits to the veterans? I don't know how you do this. And even if he comes in and slashes everything, the debt is too big. Yeah, the incessant spending only makes it worse, but just the interest on the debt makes this ridiculously.
1 trillion every 100 days.
It's
Growing.
like 4 billion a day. I think that's
Yeah.
what the number is. I mean, I just wrote this down. It's like 4 billion a day that we are. Yeah, it's 3 billion plus a day that we are incurring in debt, and you can't. That's not sustainable.
No.
So why would anyone want to sell us their commodities or their services in a currency that is depreciating? You wouldn't.
I had this discussion with my father-in-law the other night
Oh boy.
when we were talking about Bitcoin. He said it's backed by nothing. He said at least the dollar is backed by the full faith and credit of the United States. I
Yeah.
said, what is that?
Nothing.
What
We
full
have
faith
no
and
credit.
We have nothing.
And we've lost most of the faith.
Correct.
The world has lost most of
So-
the
so-
faith that they've bestowed on
Which is why the purchasing power of the dollar continues to erode to shit.
Yeah.
And continues to get even more shit. So here we go. Let's go EC. Because we're already at
What
almost
happens
an
to
hour.
Miles trying to dump in the Fed and successful having the U.S. Treasury issue our currency backed by the metals? That's a good question. I mean, a lot of people think that's why President Kennedy was killed, because he wanted to issue money directly from the Treasury as it is in the Constitution. And he had already printed the silver certificates, and obviously the Federal Reserve didn't like that very much. At that point, in order to, if indeed he did that and backed it by metals, the price of gold would have to go to a level high enough to allow monetary policy to work. And if you look at the way the Swiss used to do it, they had 40% gold backing. It gives them 60% monetary latitude. If you look at the proposal on the BRICS unit currency, 40% gold backing gives it 60% monetary latitude. My guess is that even at a 40% gold backing here in the United States, gold would have to be multiples higher. And what is gold? What's the name of the account all gold is held in across the globe? The gold revaluation account in every central bank balance sheet. What did Roosevelt do in 33? After he took the gold, he devalued the dollar by 40%. Gold went from 20 to 35. It's been done. We've talked about Senator Loomis from Wyoming, who advocates for the Bitcoin strategic account and says she wants to fund it by revaluing the gold that the Fed is supposedly holding on behalf of the Treasury to a level sufficient enough to be able to take some of the proceeds and
So
buy
here's my
buy
question to you, Andy.
Bitcoin.
So if we have X amount of gold that's supposedly held at Fort Knox, what would the value of gold have to be to get our debt, let's say, or our balance sheet
About 130,000.
in gold value?
Yeah, and
Per ounce.
if the Treasury said to the world, any country that wants to deliver gold to the Fed, we will pay 130,000 right now to the Treasury, right now. And why is that so crazy? If Bitcoin can be 92,000 and the central banks don't really own it, a couple do,
None.
El Salvador,
Yeah,
but if every central bank is buying and hoarding gold, why couldn't gold be revalued to that kind of a price? And every central bank would benefit, and they would peg a new system to it. And I think I think, I mean, the head of the Dutch National Bank keeps talking about this, and I think it's something they understand and that they notice. And
Now, do you think that would happen instantly, or is that something that happens gradually over time?
no, they would revalue it
Instantly,
way,
overnight,
way,
Sunday
way,
night
way
to Monday
hard.
morning.
Yeah, and they would just make a decree. Any government that wants to do that, and I don't think that they'll come and confiscate gold. For all of you that are thinking that in that moment, you look at GLD and SLV. SLV is the largest stockpile of silver in the world, and it's held by BlackRock and JP Morgan. JP Morgan, who paid a $920 million fine for manipulating the market. And I don't have to tell you about BlackRock. And the same people are behind GLD too, the fourth or fifth largest stockpile of gold in the world. They can just take those two accounts and have their cake and eat it too, and look at the world in the face and say, we didn't activate eminent domain. We didn't break any laws or infringe any liberties. You can own metal in this country just like you can in China and in Russia, but we have pegged our currency to gold now. And if they preemptively did this, it would inspire a tremendous amount of confidence in the dollar. And that's like Judy Shelton talking about a 30-year treasury with a lower coupon yield than a regular treasury, maybe even zero coupon, but redeemable in gold at a predetermined price at the end. And I don't know how it works out, but again, you're tying something of value because the faith and the trust is gone.
No faith.
And we're at 123% debt to GDP. You get to 130 and countries never come back from that, or they hyperinflate or they default. But that doesn't even take into account all our unfunded liabilities. You put that on top, we're way broke.
Over. Yeah.
So to your father-in-law, who's a very successful man in his own right, he's misguided in his trust of the US dollar at this point in the game.
Agreed. As reported earlier today, undersea cables may have been attacked. Would this be force majeure for the COMEX and the LBMA?
A lot of people have talked. I think Mario and Echo talked about that. I've heard it before. Yeah, I mean, if the COMEX and the LBMA communicate through undersea cables, it would definitely screw things up. Force majeure, sure. It would blow up the entire, and remember. I don't know if I have it anymore. I don't think I do. Maybe I do right here. Remember, let me read this one more time. When we talk about those kinds of events, the head of the National Bank of Poland, Adam Lipinski, commented on why they're buying more gold than just about any central bank on the planet. And I just want people to let this sink in and think about why say this in a position of such power at the head of the national bank. I mean, that's their, their Fed. Well, in Poland, he says, the National Bank of Poland has accumulated a record amount of nearly 230 tons of gold. What is the purpose? And he says, first, a short answer, but I hope it appeals to the imagination, is what he says. It's like, are you dropping crumbs for your friends? And so he says, because gold will retain its value even when someone cuts off the power to the global financial system, destroying traditional assets based on electric accounting records. Of course, we do not assume that this will happen, but as the saying goes, forewarned is forearmed, and the central bank is required to be prepared for even the most unfortunate conditions. This is why we see a special place for gold in our foreign exchange management process. After all, gold is free from credit risk and cannot be devalued by any country's economic policy. Besides, it's extremely durable and virtually indestructible. Now, think about that for a moment. What if Powell said that? So when we talk about what could happen, I mean, when you see a central banker say something like that, I mean, is someone going to stuff him in a suitcase because he said that? I don't know. I mean, are you saying things that you shouldn't be saying, or does he know something that we don't? I don't know.
Maybe.
I like this guy's.
Are you going to fall asleep right now?
No, I was going to say something. Which one?
Chad.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good. I want
I
you
think
to
I'm
do
in
that.
there.
I'm going to turn the fan on.
Chad Wolf Schledstein Bergerdorf. I think I'm related to them.
Why? Just because it says house?
Hausen Bergendorf.
Chad, I would like to know how to spell your name.
You'd like
or
to
say it,
pronounce
rather.
it.
Yeah. And I bet you dreaded the first day of school.
I mean, that can't be really what a name is, because yeah.
I don't know if that's his real name.
Yeah. Can you please email us at info@milesfranklinco.com and
phonetically?
Yeah. And or just do a voice recording of the name. That would help. That way we know for the next time. What do you just because I know this was in the comments last week and I want to set the record straight. You know, when they make solar panels and they use silver in it.
Mm-hmm.
What do you call that?
Photovoltaic.
Yeah, somebody said you don't pronounce it.
Proud of you.
Yeah, I might have said I put an L in there. Well, you know what? I
I'm
try
proud.
my best, man. I'm not
No, you're
educated. I do the best
No,
I
no,
can.
I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
You live and you learn.
Photovoltaic, yes.
Photovoltaic, yeah. You live and you learn. You did well. I like that.
What other questions do we have, my man?
I think John has got,
I did a question.
okay. Do we have an opinion on Canada? Having no zero, not a goal.
Stupidity. They probably, I mean, they have a lot in the ground. They're natural resource rich, but the fact that they sold all of their gold, I mean, look at their leader.
Yeah.
Trudeau is a moron who usurped the rule of law and due process for truckers trying to, you know, use free speech and freedom of what were they? Freedom of protest, to do it in a peaceful way. So yeah, it's it certainly wasn't a great thing for our Brink storage business. A lot of that metal moved back into the United States as a result of it. But I think that the policies are ridiculous. Why they would sell all of their gold? It's just like the Bank of England sold the most of Gordon Brown sold almost all of the Bank of England's gold at $250 an ounce. Bottom ticked it in 2001 or two. So yeah.
Did I send you that article about the theory that there are certain countries that are holding their gold in Canada?
No.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. That's supposedly there are a few countries, central banks, that are hoarding some of their gold in Canada.
Well, I can tell you this, that in one of the Brinks facilities that I've been in Canada, I asked them, whose bars are all of those? And I've heard sovereign wealth funds, but I would argue sovereign wealth funds act on behalf of the central banks of these countries. So
yeah,
I'll
get you the article. It's very interesting. I mean, I wish I had it in here. I think I had it for last week, but we didn't get to it.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about photo vol.
Andy, stack
Talic.
the surfers on. Do you want to ask them to jump on and say hi to everyone?
Might be a little late for that. I mean, I could.
If he wants to come on,
Stacking Surfer, Jay, you want to come on, buddy? Just type in if you do. I'll bring you on and you can say hi to people.
Let's go to all of them. Let's see. Let's just go back to here.
He's a good man.
Let's just go to the
Operation Sandman. Yeah.
Stacking Surfer. You guys.
He who owns the gold makes the rules. That's true.
That is true.
And it's almost like he who owns the commodities makes the rules. And you can see, like, look at China. They bought the London Metals Exchange, all the base metals. Their Belt Road Initiative connecting all of the countries that are resource rich but underdeveloped. Look at all the countries that joined the BRICS. Look at how gold is replacing the treasury. That's very true.
Andy definitely did a dance this afternoon. They
told me I'm not allowed to dance.
Yeah. Andy's very good at a lot of things, and I love him to death. But the one thing that he cannot do, it's completely illegal. We won't have it anywhere. Andy should never be allowed to dance.
Yeah, actually.
Show him the only thing that I allow you to do.
Do my shoulder.
The shoulder. That's
Yeah.
it. That's when we both do it at the same time. It's like
At least my elbow hasn't fallen off tonight.
No, but mine did earlier.
Did it? And I missed it?
Well, because you were very deep in discussion that you
Yes,
fell
yeah.
out. I thought the computer was going to fall. All right. What was the other? Is he coming? How do we get him on stage?
Did we tell people that I beat you in golf twice?
I think it was like 7 times,
Oh,
but I think I'm the one that told them.
Oh, well.
I think I'm the one that told them.
That's like
Yeah.
reverse psychology.
I feel like it was good to come out
Huh?
with it. Yeah.
Stacking surfers at dinner in Hollywood.
Oh.
In Hollywood.
Oh. Well,
Fancy schmancy.
we see Chad
Stacking
Wolf,
surfer.
Sledstein, Hausenbergdorf. There you go. All right.
That's
Do we have any?
I'll see you on Thursday, Jay.
My bad. I thought the guy was with you, Frank.
No, Frank's not with us.
Alan Ritter says tattoo. Yes, that's me.
Tattoo.
That is me. That is I. The tattoo. All right. Do we have any other questions?
There's another funny one.
Oh my God. Cow of Ski Bum Stein Pasta Fazula. I might have went to
Ski
school
bum.
with that guy. We're actually going skiing.
Yeah, come join
Yeah,
us.
we
Kimbo.
have to make our flights too. And then I can. Yeah. What happens if you two switch glasses?
Holy shit, you are blind, man.
It's the same thing.
No,
It's the
it's
same
not. Are you like
thing.
Mr. Magoo?
These, I think, were my glasses.
No,
Did you get these
we
at
bought
Easy
them in
Peasy?
London.
Easy
Yeah,
peasy?
we bought them.
Yeah, they're the same
These are like
strength.
like Professor. Hello.
Hello.
Not
It's the
these.
same
Not
one.
these. These are like.
These are actually like
Those are like.
good-looking glasses.
Yeah, right.
Those are like,
that's
you know,
like Professor
whatever.
Dingledorf.
And then, you know, you're, what is that?
Come play with us, Duck.
$100 plus. Yeah, what's this? $100 plus constitutional silver dollar bars. So is the advantage of all these versus rounds or bars.
Yeah, they're way better, but they're way more expensive too. I mean, they're numismatic, sort of. Basically, there's only 0.77 ounces of silver just over in a Morgan or a piece, but you're paying probably $40 a piece for them because they're old and they are collectible. But
So you're paying for
Collect-
silver
yeah.
and the collectability.
they have massive mystique. You know, you show someone I've given out Morgan silver dollars to some of the guys here at the golf course.
That's because he's lost.
No, I give it to them as ball markers. It is not because I've lost.
It's a lot more than silver dollars when he loses. That I can tell you. No.
You just lost twice to me in the last 2 rounds. I'd
I
shut up
know.
if I were you. There's a new trend.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You know what appears very like
They
big on
can't.
the
They can't
screen?
hear you.
Yeah, they can.
No,
John, my
they can't.
dimple shows very like a lot on the screen.
You should be uncomfortable about that. Yeah,
A gal?
you should get some Botox, Kevin.
They do that in dimples?
Yeah.
I only have one. Only one dimple. Only
A
on the
filler.
side.
You need a filler.
Oh yeah. Right. That's what I want.
Yeah.
That's just what I need.
God, would I love that.
Oh my God. What will the price of gold do after a Fort Knox reserve audit? We don't know because they haven't been audited.
Since
And-
1953
And
or
it's
so.
not happening. It's not happening. They might have nothing. We might have everything. We don't know. How does one get started in brokering precious metals? It was 35 years in the making. Come February.
Not easy. It's not easy.
It's not easy being Andy Scheck.
No,
That's
it's not.
for sure.
It for
No.
sure is not. No,
No.
I like. I'm gonna have my dad on the show in December, and I'll probably have
When?
my son
December
jump on
17th?
too, so you can see 3 generations. But I'll tell you that it wasn't easy, and my dad. I need to come on and tell everyone just how we got here, and it's it's a miracle that we got here. Just write a book on it, for God's sakes. But it's true. I mean, starting before the internet, relationships have forged a lot of the success of my business, but I've been doing it longer than just about everybody. And all of these companies have been around a fraction as long as I have. And, what did we say a few episodes ago? Stick-to-itiveness, right?
Yeah.
And
Well, I think that people think that, you say your dad started the company and with you. I think most people probably would think that, you kind of like just took it over.
No.
I don't think that they realize that.
my dad
You are
really,
the
I've never
brains
seen
and
my
the
dad.
brawn
I've
behind the
never
operation.
seen my dad sell an ounce of gold.
Right.
Ever, not once.
Right.
Ever. And a lot of the ideas and stuff I came up with, invention is the mother of necessity and something like that. And he kept us out of debt. He wrote a newsletter and he took the initial leap of faith. So I give him credit for that. But that's why we wanted my son to go to work and become an accountant first before he ever decided, or even we contemplated bringing him on board. You don't ever want to be in someone's shadow. And I always kind of felt that way, even though, truth be told, my dad always says, it's the vehicle. I created the vehicle. Okay, fair enough. But I've been driving the vehicle for 20 plus years. But I don't discount everything my father did to get us here. I don't. And I thank God he's still with us. And I'm going to have to rein him in a bit when he's here.
God
but
bless him. Well,
no.
can you answer the next question for me?
Can you ask people if they would be willing to come here?
Well,
They
the people
would.
here will say yes, but
If you guys would do and travel to Florida
In the summer would be best.
maybe in the summertime
That's
to a
cheap.
Miles Franklin conference in Florida, in South Florida. Just in the chat window, just put yes. And that
I'd
way
like
we'll
to
know.
do one, but you know, it's a really big commitment. Like, you know, I'm doing one in Canada in March, I think, and the amount of money that the guy that's running it is spending just for hotels and it's outrageous.
You know, but I think that, and I know it is an expense, but I think that if you do it,
You just
and
have to
do
know
it-
that there'll be enough people because you got to book all that stuff without knowing what kind of a lot of it, you know, is guaranteed, and you don't know what the turnout will be. So
no, I know.
I mean, I'd like to do it. I've never even thought about it. I will tell you, it's a Herculean.
Well, Father Duck
task.
says he's got 25 people to jump on board. So what if you even did it and you capped it in the first one, made it a little bit more intimate, and you did
We
it
did that in Minneapolis.
50 or 100 people?
Andy Hoffman and I did it in Minneapolis, and then we went to Colorado and did that, and they were more intimate, and it was far less. It wasn't really a conference as much as it was a get together, like, you know,
Right.
dinner and drinks.
Ooh,
And
Alan Ritter says keg party at Tattoos. You're all more than welcome to come.
you know, when was the last time you've been to a really good keg party?
You just went to one
You-
did?
in Madison.
Yeah, in
Well,
Madison.
that doesn't count.
Did you do
Where was the keg? I suppose there was a keg. Yeah, I went to a
Father
fraternity
Duck?
party.
I know the hotel well.
Which one?
The Fairfield and the Marriott in Boca. Yeah, well, the Marriott's the one right across from your favorite restaurant. On A1A,
Oh, okay.
Luna Rosa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's right by our office.
Yeah.
Our office, we have an office in downtown Delray, right by that Marriott. If that's the
Yep.
Opal, it's called. No,
Yeah.
that's what he's
Right.
talking about.
We could do Vegas too. That's a
Vegas
little-
would be
that's a little-
great. Let's go
yeah,
to Vegas.
I'm okay with that.
You just may never see me though. That's the only problem.
Yeah.
Where's
Oh.
Andy?
John's got the best one. Okay. Definitely 1000% lasagna with maybe a sprinkle of brisket, but no turkey.
You know what the weirdest part
Not
about all
in
of
my
this?
lasagna.
He will not eat turkey, yet he's the one who makes the damn
I do.
thing.
I
How
do
do you even
make-
know it tastes good if you're making it?
Listen,
and you've never tried it.
Do you want to hear the worst part?
What?
I don't know if I should share this. I could
wanna
get
hear
made
it.
fun of
Let's-
for a long time.
would I do that? I
Yes.
would never do that. I love you. I would never do that.
So I make the turkey for my entire family every year, and there's only one part of the turkey I eat. Take a guess.
The neck.
Yeah.
You
got
sick
it.
son of a bitch. See, that's what I'm talking about.
You got it.
I mean,
It's
the guy would rather eat
The
the
neck.
neck. And if you think it almost makes me gag, it's revolting. Not even, I mean, I
Mixed
rest
nuts.
my case.
I
That's
am
like
not-
a mic drop moment.
I
rest
am
my
not a
case.
badger, but I am a father badger. My daughter this year will be graduating. Very, very proud dad. She's actually pretty much already graduated. She is in her senior year. She's taking one credit, and she could have graduated last year, but I told her that there's enough time in life to work, that you should enjoy your 4 years. So she had to have at least one credit so that she could walk in graduation with all her friends come May.
My daughter's there too. Should we tell them that funny story at the casino when you were wearing your sweatshirt?
Oh my God, that's a good one.
You
though.
tell it.
All right, so
It's not too long. It's short.
that we'll close it out with this, and oh my God, Zoe just wrote turkey covered with pickles. If you want to kill me, send me turkey covered with pickles, and that'll
No, but
be it. I
I'll
won't
eat
even
the
go beyond.
neck.
Right.
Give me
So Andy and I, we only live about 15, 20 minutes from a casino here. And Andy and I like to go from time to time I like to play some cards. Andy likes to go because that's always where he gets recognized by absolute just weird people. So by weird people, I mean the one who we're going to talk about right now. So I am actually wearing a sweatshirt that
We're going to pick up our daughters.
we're
at
going
the
to pick up
airport.
both of our daughters at the airport.
It's like Thanksgiving, I think.
Before we went to the airport, we said, hey, why don't we go to the casino?
It's on the
We'll
way.
play for a little bit. It's on the way. And then when they tell us that, they're landing, we'll leave. It's only about 10, 15 minutes away. So we go and we sit down at the table. Andy and I like to play this game, Ultimate Texas Hold'em. And it's against the casino, and it's a lot of fun. We sit down at the table, and I'm wearing a sweatshirt that has the W for Wisconsin on it. And the guy goes, oh, did you go to Wisconsin? I said, no. Andy said, no, but our daughters go there. And they say, well, we're from, I always forget the name.
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee. And
then
Andy
I
said, did you go to
Nicolay High School?
Nicolay High School. And the guy says, yeah. He says, oh, do you know?
I said, do you know Dan Isaacson? No, don't know Dan. Then I said, do you know Jeff Gold?
The guy looked at him and goes, dude, I am Jeff Gold.
And I'm like, it's me, Sheckman. And it was, you couldn't make it. I hadn't
All
seen
right.
the guy in 30 years. Don't say it.
I hope he's not watching.
Don't say it.
I have to.
Oh,
It's the
God,
story.
man, that's okay.
But I hope he's not
I
watching.
don't think he's watching.
I don't think he's watching. First of all, I looked at Andy and I said, how in the world did you not know that was Jeff
It's been
Gold?
30 years, man.
Okay. His nose was the same nose that it was 30 years ago. Is that right?
No, they get bigger.
They get bigger.
It's impossible that he didn't know who this gentleman was because
I didn't.
it
You
was
were
like-
right
it
there.
was like that.
But
Like-
you were right there.
I know. I was there
We were
because when
hugging
he
and-
turned,
yeah.
his nose hit me in the head. That's how I know.
And I said, you are the best basketball player I ever played with. And he looks at his two buddies and says, I told you so. I told you.
Yeah.
He was a hell of an athlete.
I don't know how the hell you didn't know it was him. I don't know how.
I don't know.
But those things only happen.
He didn't know it was me.
He might have.
Well, you look the same.
You do look the same. And you know what I'm going to say right now.
Don't say
I'm
anything
not going to.
because
I
I
won't.
can fire back, you know.
How Cindy wants to know how I'm connected with Andy. Are we family? A family friend working at Miles Franklin? How would you answer that one? Am I family or am I a family friend? This one's a deep one. Boy.
He's a family friend who lives very nearby. Who, after meeting him, he was finishing my sentences after a week.
Yeah.
It just
I think that we
resonate with.
I
one
think
another.
that it's a family friend that has become
You can say it.
family.
You can-
Is that the term,
That's very nice.
John? Is that the term? Family?
That's very
Is that it?
nice. I'm comfortable with my
You could choose your friends. You can't choose your family. In this case, I get to choose both.
Oh, God bless.
That's
God
kind of the way it is.
Tonight.
I know. I did. By the way. Hey, yo, no mustache.
Yeah. No mustache. Yeah, don't
You
even
know
go
what that
down there.
means.
Word chief. No mustache.
Oh man. Hello. What is someone just wrote something funny? Stacking Surfer told me to tell you Roll Tide. Little Bama.
I watched Alabama smoke Madison.
Although
They destroyed them.
all right, but this weekend we were this close for beating Oregon.
Yeah.
That close. And we just gave it up in the Q4. So
Good teams
can't-
always find a way
Yeah,
to
they
win in
always
the
find
end.
a good. I think that was in the replacements.
It's true, though.
Yeah, Gene Hackman said it, I believe.
I need a
Wolfen,
girlfriend.
Wolfen, Hedgenstein, Hausendorfen both said he needs a friend, bro. Don't go. I need a friend.
I mean, okay, if we start hanging out with you, you're
You see what
Wolfie.
Scott Heller
That's
wrote?
all you are.
You see what Scott Heller?
What do you write? You look like brothers. Yeah.
Yeah, you should be around the two of us. It's
Oh, and this is a really good one.
Well, there's actually
Which one?
a very
that one. You look like brothers.
there's a very funny thing that happened. I'll tell this one. So Kevin and I play in this golf league, and we have everyone wears, it's like you wear the same shirt, right? The club sponsors it, and we go play at all the courses around as a team. And
It's like an inter club
Yes.
type thing.
And we came back one night and went up to the bar. There's a woman there who I hadn't met yet, but her husband has turned out to be a dear friend of both of ours. Very, very, very dear friend. And I hadn't met Jamie. And so I'm standing talking with my wife and a few other people. And this girl, Jamie, comes up to me and she starts doing this and all over me. And I'm like, hi, do I know you? And she's like, you were just at our table. And she's and I'm like, no, I wasn't. And her friend mouths this. She's like, yes, you were. And my wife's right here, like, what? And I'm
Who's
like,
touching you?
I am. And she's like, where your tattoos? Because I have one tattoo. And I'm like, oh, you're thinking it was Kevin. He almost got me divorced for that.
Yeah, well, it wasn't me. I didn't do it, but
It was very uncomfortable.
it was yeah.
I mean,
It wasn't that uncomfortable.
it's something I'm used to.
Yeah, of course, you know,
touching me.
What is this one? Yes. Bo, you hit the nail on the head. This is, by the way, why I thank God every day that I love my job. I love what I do. I love who I work for. I love my clients. It is the greatest atmosphere in the world to do what we do. I'm beyond, I pinch myself every day how fortunate I am to be surrounded by these people and to do what I do. I love it. So
You're good
thank
at
you
it
for that.
too.
Well, thank you.
But you know what? Friendship is easy when you meet someone who you understand. It's easy.
Yeah.
And I respect. I mean, I call him the unicorn. He's good at everything he does. He always does this. He's good at it. He excels at everything. And I would say in general, the people I've met from Queens in this country club, and there's lots of them, are generally exceptional. And the town that I grew up in, St. Louis Park in Minneapolis, had a lot of very, very, very well-known, the Coen brothers, what's his name? What's the knucklehead that was the governor? Al Franken. There's a lot. Jim Peterson. There's a lot of very famous people, and I think it was similar. It was really no one really, really wealthy and no one really, really poor. But it was a mix of all sorts of people, and you learned how to get along and communicate. But there are very few people that I've met that are from Queens that are not really exceptional. And I think it's learning how to communicate.
Yeah, well, I think that, growing up in Queens, I don't think most people there were not certainly extremely wealthy in the least bit, but I think that it was.
He didn't go into his first house until high school. He never seen a house before.
Not high school. Yeah, my wife currently, who I've been with for now 37 years, married 27 years. I think her house was the first house I've ever walked in. I grew up in an apartment. I slept head to toe with my brother. If I went in there now, I would think it was the size of a matchbox. I feel like it would be. It was just that, but we didn't know any different.
But that environment, I think, breeds creativity. It breeds communication. It breeds ingenuity, and you have to learn how to get along.
Yeah, listen, we hustled. Me and my best friend in the world, Ian. I know you're not listening, but you should be. Ian and I used to, it used to snow in New York. We used to go out in the blizzard, and we used to knock on doors, and we used to ask people if they wanted their driveways shoveled so that they can get their cars out. They'd say yes. They'd give us the $5-10, whatever it was. And then
they'd go back late at night and put the snow back on their driveway.
Yeah, we would. That way when we went back the next day, they would have to pay us again. But
did they not wonder why theirs was the only driveway with snow in it?
No, we put snow on every driveway. Yeah, that way.
That was before Ring cameras.
Yeah, we didn't. There was no Ring camera then, or else game over right away. But yeah, that's how it worked.
Let's take one or two more, and we could do this all night.
Yeah, I know. All right. Yeah, find one, and then we can.
Guys, isn't the market really being controlled? Yes, that's Mazel. Mazel, Ken. That's right, brother. Yes, it is. It is. They are using the stupidity of the COMEX and the LBMA, like the Chinese water torture, drip by drip by drip by drip. If they were just to turn on the water and buy whatever they could, it's over. And then they don't get as much. But if you slowly milk them, playing the game, letting the U.S. and the COMEX market and the price setting mechanism and the LBMA think that they're still in control, when you realize these countries are now coordinated and motivated and sophisticated and wealthy and are using, just like jiu-jitsu, the leverage of their opponent against them. And that's what you see happening. That is spot on, man, for sure.
I want to say one thing. Tonight, Andy we came home a little bit later, and he kept telling me all day, I didn't prepare for tonight. And Andy is a stickler. He is a prepper like you can, right? But I told him on Tuesday nights for Q&As, I don't think you need to prepare. And I think tonight was kind of proof in the pudding that, you don't need the preparation. For the most part what's going on.
Yeah, but if you don't stay on top. I may have
But
a
you're on
narrative.
top.
I
You're-
know.
I know. But
One
what I'm
day,
saying is,
like, I get anxiety from missing an afternoon.
and I think that's one of the reasons why you're as successful as you are, because you don't miss a beat. But for the people that are on here tonight, and for
Thank you all
for the
coming.
most of the news that's out there, there might not be preparation for an interview that you're doing for tomorrow or the following day. But for this, I think the people that are watching now want this side of Andy. I don't think that they want necessarily the prepped Andy. They want the ad hoc Andy.
So
Hoc. You know what I was just gonna do, right? When I said
No,
ad
don't
hoc.
do it.
I'm not. But you know what I was gonna do.
So I was going to mention some of the people. I've done some great interviews recently that I don't know if I did Gregory Manarino, I did Vince Lancy, I did Simon Hunt. I did a really cool one with Mike Barra. Now, Mike Barra is a fascinating guy, and he has written some of the episodes of the Y-Files. He's been on TV. He's worked with NASA. It's not about economics. It's about the pyramids and all sorts of things. In preparation, you read about the Great Pyramid of Giza, it'll blow your mind. I mean, blow your mind when you read. In fact, I'm going to do that real quick. I just want to read something real quick. I know that this isn't what we were talking about, but
I don't think anyone cares. I think that's what they want to hear.
listen to this. All right, listen to this. The Great Pyramid of Giza has 2.5 million blocks of stone weighing 6 million tons piled 481 feet high. Its footprint is over 13 acres. The sides of the pyramid are aligned with such accuracy that only modern equipment could match it. To align the structure to 1/15th of a degree to true north is virtually impossible. The base of the pyramid is level within 3/4 of an inch. Without the assistance of modern lasers, again, impossible. The sides of the pyramid are over 755 feet long, made with stone blocks between 2 and 40 tons each. 2 and 40 tons each. Each side is within 2 inches of one another. That's 99.98% accurate. Now, this is the craziest part of it all, Kevin, and this part that freaked me out in researching, and I want people to think about this for a moment. It was built over 5,000 years ago. The height of the pyramid, if you take the height of the pyramid and you multiply it by 43,200, you get 3,938.685 miles, which is within 11 miles of the polar radius of the planet. That's 99.8% accurate. If you take the base of the pyramid and multiply it also by 43,200, you get 24,734.94 miles. That is the circumference of the Earth at the equator within 99.3% accuracy. And here's where is the whipped cream on the crazy Sunday, and that's the Egyptians were obsessed with the equinox, when the day and the night are the same length. The length of the day and night during an equinox is 43,200 seconds. Last thing is, it used to be covered in limestone, and the quarry where this comes from is 500 miles away from the pyramid. That's like carrying thousands of tons of 10-ton stone blocks the entire length of the state of Florida.
How's it possible?
So, and this is what I talked about with Mike Barra. It was fascinating, and I think people should check it out. It's not like the normal things I talk about. I think it comes out Friday. I do have Dr. Paul Roberts coming up. My good friend Robert Kiyosaki coming up. I was supposed to do Bill Holter yesterday, but he had to change it. So Bill Holter, my good buddy. I got Rafi Farber coming up. Ira Harris. Sean Kuhn, the CEO of, hang on, honey. The CEO of Dolly Varden Silver. Chris Powell, the owner of GATA. We all owe Chris and Bill Murphy a debt of gratitude. James Turk, Robert Kiyosaki. Who else? Versan from he and his brother Black Swan Capital. Mario Neko. Keith Newmeyer. I'm sure I'll get Rick Rule on here soon. So John Forrest Little. John Forrest is the guy who does the pickaxe and does silverwars.org. He's a hell of a researcher. If you guys can think of any other names
that you want to have interviewed by Andy,
They've all been really gracious. Everyone's come on, and except for one Dingeldorf hasn't. He said, what's your budget?
Yeah, I know who you're
Okay, see
talking
you
about.
later.
I know.
But-
And by the way,
Yeah.
I unfollow.
Yeah, it's stupid. Like,
Yeah, I unfollow.
that's what that is the benefit of relationships. And it makes me proud to know that in all of the years I've done this, when I ask people to come on, they say, of course, yeah, let's do it. Chris Martinson's coming on, who I owe a lot to Chris Martinson. He helped me prepare during the pandemic, and we'll talk about that when I'm on with him. But others too. So
Terry Hall, I'd love to have some of your lasagna right now. I'm starving. And also, I just put the specials down below. It was the same as last week, but we'll be changing that tomorrow. I think that we're going to have 10th ounce Britannias on special starting tomorrow. I'm waiting to hear from our trader. The American Eagle 10th ounce are very, very scarce. I don't think we really have much.
the 2025s don't come out until the first or second week in
In
January.
January, right? So anything right now, but we've been getting a lot of inquiries on these smaller fractionals, the low denomination. So
It is crazy how blind I am without my glasses, man. I
too.
can't see anything.
Me
It
neither.
just sucks.
I know. You know, it sucks.
But
Getting old.
who was not rec? There's a person I knew in college, Jeff Gold. Used to play basketball with him, and I was in a fraternity with him for 1 year.
Didn't we just talk about Jeff Gold?
Yeah, I said, who is
Oh.
that person?
Yeah.
James Rickard, I would love to have on, and I think he would. I spent an hour and a half having drinks with him and talking on a cruise, Rick Rule's conference a year ago, and I think he'd come on.
Yeah, one of the guys that I want Andy to try and get on with is Anthony Pompliano, because I think that between the two of them, you're going to see a lot of synergies between physical gold and digital gold. And I think that, I think that a guy like Anthony Pompliano would understand exactly what we're talking about.
Well,
So,
hopefully he surprises and say, yeah, I've been buying
Yeah.
gold all along.
that's it.
The two communities should be complementary, not adversarial. That's just the bottom line.
100%.
The two camps, rather, not two companies, the two camps.
Well, you know what? I know it's been a while, but and I just have to show them because he's so damn cute.
Your dog.
Yeah. So we just got a third puppy. And I could show them on camera. That is Milo. So I would love to stay and chat and talk, but this little guy has probably already peed and pooped 4 times over in my house. So I got to get out of here and walk this little man. Someone just said Lynette Zhang.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I mean, I'm friendly with Lynette. In fact, we're very friendly, but yeah, maybe. I like Lynette. I could have her come on.
This is what I will tell you. Get your questions in order. Send them this week to info@milesfranklin.com.
No, we're not.
Oh, that's
I'm in
Oh, he's in
Minnesota next
Minnesota.
week.
Unless you wanted to do it from there, and I'll do it from home.
We'll say maybe.
Yeah, it's a maybe.
Mama says no.
No, Jana said no. So we're taking off next week. So we'll be back the week following. So that being said, still send in your questions. Let's get them ready for the following week, and we will stockpile them and make sure that we get them all answered.
You're gonna miss us.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss you. You're
Well,
going to Minnesota.
My dad texted me.
Oh, you
he said
betcha.
it's cold. Dress warm. This
Yeah.
is when living in Florida is
I
nice.
got rid of all my.
By the way, this is how I'm going to be dressing for Thanksgiving. This is me dressing for the cold.
It's not cold. You live in Florida.
Yeah, I know, but it's a little chilly outside. It's like 60 some odd degrees, maybe 70. I don't know, but it's nice. The
Snowflake.
little breeze. It's nice.
Such a snowflake.
I appreciate everybody for tuning in tonight. Thank you as always.
When are people going to start recognizing you?
They do.
Dude.
I don't know.
Are you Kevin?
Every time
are you tattooed?
every time you see me, you go, oh my God, it's Kevin. So
It's tattooed.
yes, it's that too. So that being
I'm
said,
thinking I'm going to go take a hot tub.
subscribe. That's nice. Not with me.
No.
Subscribe,
I
smash
gave
the
you a
like
kiss.
button.
That's as-
That is true.
that's as-
And that's it. So, and by the way, thank you all. We are now over 29,000 subscribers to YouTube.
Yeah, that's really nuts.
really
And please do
So-
subscribe and
We are looking for 30,000 is the next milestone for
does
us.
that come
So
after 29?
yeah,
See,
Yeah.
you're smart.
Yeah.
That's why you're the unicorn.
30,000. Help us get there, each and every one of you. We appreciate you.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
Jana said, let's do a giveaway. What should we do for the 30,000th?
Ooh, that's what we
I
should
just
do.
don't want everyone emailing me after I did quote the Raven.
Yeah. Oh, Chris Irons, quote the Raven. I just did. He's one of the greatest guys ever. I love the dude. So smart. People should check that one out.
Let's do a good 30,000 subscriber giveaway.
Well, I just
Fly him here for a round of golf.
Ooh. Well, what if they don't golf? So what about
What
in
if
terms?
she's really
What about
pretty
in
to
terms
win?
of medal?
What if
Let's
she's
go.
really beautiful? Whoever wins.
Then I'll fly.
Yeah.
Why don't we do
action off Milo for the 30.
a medal giveaway? Well, I mean, this is
Yeah,
your.
you're
this
gonna
is your-
go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm not gonna
Yeah,
give away
this-
your medal.
yeah. Something nice.
So,
Huh?
huh?
Dinner where? In Vegas?
Well,
Yeah, Kevin
what
and I will
about-
meet them in Vegas.
What about
Kevin and I will meet him in Vegas. Let's
we
tell
could
our
do that.
wives. Let's
Yeah, we could
you
do that.
said yes, right?
No, I didn't.
She said yes.
What
I heard
about-
it. Let's
how about
we'll meet
this?
you in Vegas.
How about
A quarter ounce of gold is that's not flashy enough. Something good.
half?
Something big, like
Wait a minute.
maybe like
1 ounce?
No,
1 ounce is big.
Maybe like maybe 100-ounce bar of silver.
I like that. All right. I'm going to spend his money. 30,000 subscribers.
Well, but wait.
Yeah.
So people are gonna wait. And
Well, there's only one way to get there. You have to tell your friends. You have to have them subscribe. You have to smash that like button.
How can we know who is the 30,000th? 30,000th.
no, we won't know.
No, what we're going to do is once we hit 30,000, then we'll have it done on a random draw. Everyone who's on that night, there's like a whole spinning wheel thing. It takes all the people that are on, and Jack knows how to do it. Jack will be able to do it. So we need to get to 30,000. Then we're going to do a 100-ounce silver bar giveaway. But
Or the people who are on our live.
yeah, the week following us getting 30,000 subscribers,
Okay.
we are going to do a 100-ounce silver giveaway. We'll do that you saw those wrapped up valves. Do a brand new in the package Val Canby 100-ounce silver bar, and Jack will show us how to do
You
it.
got excited there.
I did.
Way to go.
Well, listen, I'm giving away.
Passionate.
I'm giving away.
My
We're
shit.
giving. Yeah, I mean, nothing's better than me
It's all
giving
right.
away
You
your
know
money.
what? It's YouTube has changed my life. It truly has.
It
And for the
has.
last 4 or 5 years, it's changed my life. So I'll give back to the community just to say thank you. It blows my mind every day that you guys spend an hour with me. I mean, Kevin.
Yeah.
I get it. He's entertaining, but thank
Silver
you.
Bushman, that's what I'm talking about. Post this on Discord, put it out there, get our subscribers, get those likes.
That's something. Oh, and computers can be rigged. We don't lie.
What do you mean?
And someone said computers can be rigged.
Rigged to what?
Rig to what?
So pick whoever you want it to. be.
We'll find, listen, that we are honest as the day is long. We are not doing this so that we can give it away to somebody that we know. That's not what we do. I promise you that we hit 30,000 subscribers. One of the people that are on our live Q&A will get that. And if it's anyone that we know personally, we will banish them from the drawing. That I can
No,
tell you.
Not really. You're not.
Yeah, I will.
I was telling someone texted me. He said, "Am I disqualified because I'm an affiliate?" He's a good guy. No, you're not. If
No, but
one of
like
if
my
you're- if
son
you're random
is.
out there. Why?
Yeah,
not?
my son is. My daughter is. My wife is definitely.
Well, that wouldn't go over well. Like at our country club, the gal putting on the thing, the party, this giant gala.
Right.
She didn't do the spinning wheel. She just came out and said, "And the winner is."
Right. And it was her husband.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
That was a problem.
It's what we call Fugazi. That's it. So listen.
No,
Thank you
don't
for
go,
tuning.
Kevin. Don't go. You're hungry, aren't you?
I
What are you
am.
going to go eat? Freak a turkey neck?
I have no idea what's there.
Why don't you go get a turkey neck?
I have no.
You're
I
disgusting.
have to wait.
You're absolutely
I have
disgusting.
to wait to cook
Like,
the
I
turkey.
can't even think. I mean,
eat the
I
neck.
can't think of anything more repugnant than the neck of turkey.
What about the ass?
Well,
Some
okay,
people
there-
love the ass. I don't.
you're
do
an
that.
ass man or you're a neck man?
I'm not an eat the ass man. I mean, that's not
Probably
me.
wise.
Yeah, I mean, I have my limits. You know what I mean? But again, we appreciate all of you. Thank you. 30,000, that's the
God
target.
bless.
Let's get there. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Adios.
Don't go.
Ciao.
I need a friend.
Don't go. I need a friend.
Don't go.
There we go.